as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
They say it's darkest before the dawn. And so it was on the 25th of April 1915. The moon had set. The only light available to the men, well, boys really, of the Australian and New Zealand Army Corps were the unfamiliar constellations of the Northern Hemisphere. The darkness bred confusion. Boats landed in the wrong positions. The terrain wasn't what they'd expected. And then came the gunfire. It began as soon as the first men came ashore at what would come to be known as Anzac Cove. The task was impossible, but retreat was not an option. No one knows for sure how many Australians died that day. Probably about 650. 8 months and about 8,000 Australian deaths later, the Anzacs were evacuated. The campaign was abandoned, a failure. But the Anzac legend was born. Good evening and welcome to SBS World News. I'm Darren Mara.